Hello, and welcome back to another Red Talk. Today, I thought I would actually upload a Red Talk on a Thursday, and the only reason for that is I've just noticed that my last video on Pokemon and Pokemon Home has really done quite well. A lot of people seem to be viewing it. I've got about 100 views, so it's actually my top video on my channel at the moment. And I'm just noticing a few people disliking the video, which is fine. I'm not worried about that at all. But I thought, given the circumstance that I am starting to see a little bit of a response, and some of it is negative, I thought I would take this chance to say, or give you my thoughts on what I actually like about Pokemon Sword and Shield. I have spent the last two videos saying how much I dislike it and consider it to be the worst Pokemon game. And while I still sort of believe, well, I don't sort of believe, I know that is the case for me personally, there is still a lot about the game that I like, and despite the fact I've publicly come out and said that there's a lot of things I dislike, I still play the game quite a lot. So today, we're going to look at the positive sides of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and with that, before we get into it, please leave a comment down below, like it or dislike it, however you may feel about it, and subscribe to the channel for more. So with that, let's get into it. So the first thing I really like about Sword and Shield is the new Pokemon themselves. There's a lot of the times where I've played previous Pokemon games and I will pick up a couple of new Pokemon, but then maybe pick up maybe 3 of Pokemon that I've seen already before from previous generations, because maybe there's a lot of the new ones that I dislike. With this current game, there was a lot of new Pokemon that I genuinely liked, and I've just managed to keep them in my party at all times. It's actually quite refreshing to know that a lot of the new Pokemon for myself personally was something that I was willing to stick with, rather than just go, oh, I don't really like these ones, so I'm just going to fall back onto something that I've played before. It is, I suppose, a compliment to Game Freak that sort of says, well, you've actually done a really good job with the design of these creatures. They make me invested enough to be able to stick with them. My current party actually does not have a single old school Pokemon in it, or a Pokemon from a previous generation. The only one that I could say that is a old school Pokemon is the evolution of Meowth in the current game. So it's not the Persian, it's the other one. I can't remember his name. Unfortunately, I am still learning the names. But that's the only air quote old school Pokemon that I have in my pack. Other than that, they're all this generation's Pokemon, and I think that's a great credit. So number one is just absolutely the new Pokemon. They absolutely nailed them. And despite the fact that a lot of people will either like them or dislike them, for me, most of them from what I've seen so far are fantastic. The second thing that I really like about Pokemon Sword and Shield is the fact that I can wonder trade and just go about my business. Now, a lot of people might sit there and say, well, that's such a small thing, but to me, it's absolutely awesome. And the reason why I like it so much is because whilst I was making my first 2 videos, I was still trying to finish up the game. And one thing I really enjoyed was the fact that I could keep playing the game and not be stopped and having to go to the Pokemon Center, open up my boxes, get out my Pokemon, and trade. I could actually just sit there, put up a Pokemon at random, and go, okay, I'm going to continue on my way. What I particularly like even more about it is the fact that I can continue playing through the story and not be disturbed. All I see is the little progress bar at the bottom, and it tells me when it's ready. It couldn't be any better. It's such a basic function, but it just came across and was executed so well. Game Freak, please don't change that. If you're going to change it in any way, shape or form, the only suggestion that I could make is maybe make us be able to wonder trade more Pokemon at once and sort of queue them up. So you maybe have 3 or 4 Pokemon queued. That's it. Otherwise, fantastic. The third thing that I really like about it, and it ties really into the Wonder Trade, is the fact that I can access my boxes on the fly. Now, everyone knows about this. Everyone loves this one. But coupled with the Wonder Trade system, it means I never have to go back to the Pokemon Center. If I'm fighting well, the only time I have to go back to the Pokemon Center is if my Pokemon faint and I don't have medical supplies, or I run out of power points or PP for my Pokemon. small gripes. Eventually you do have to go back there. However, that is also negated with the curry system, so it's up to you how you use it. I personally don't use the curry system a lot, though I do like it for what it is. It's a nice little addition. However, that's not what we were talking about. To be able to switch my Pokemon out in the boxes on the fly is just awesome. Like, I love that as well. It just means that I, for one, am a Pokemon player that will pick a Pokemon out, like catch it, especially at the early, like in the early hours of the game. I'll catch whatever I can find and start training them up. But the moment I feel like I dislike a Pokemon, I usually will put it in the box, or I will trade it up for something maybe I've not seen before. So, especially given the fact that I like a lot of the new Pokemon, I certainly traded in a few and sort of seen what I could get, you know. The more I looked at it, and the more I could trade them out freely, the more I enjoyed the concept of being able to switch them without having to go back and go, alright, I'm going to try this brand new Pokemon out. I've never used it before. Oh man, I hate it. Alright, I've got to go back, got to go and try and find another one. It just eliminates a lot of downtime, and I'm really thankful for that, because it does allow me to go through the game. Despite me not liking the story so much, it still allows me to go on the adventure a lot quicker in a certain respect, but it also allows me to progress at a quicker pace as well. So I can really enjoy the concept of exploring, especially if I'm like in the wild area. I can run around and have a look and not have to stress so much and travel all that distance back. So it keeps me adventuring rather than going back to have to keep swapping things in and out. Now, the final thing that I really like about Sword and Shield, and I've saved the best one for last, is the wild area. Red, I know what you're thinking. Before I even start, Red, you have said in both of your videos how much you think the wild area is a bad idea. It is poorly executed. And yes, you are correct. But the word that I will use there is executed. The wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield, on paper, in theory, is a brilliant idea. It is an absolute banger of an idea. The reason why I dislike it so much is as I feel it could be so much more. Let me give you an example. Please hear me out. The wild area as we know it right now is a large green area with not much in it. It's fairly flat. It's got a few little areas that you can divert off to, but doesn't really hold your interest for a long time. Aside from raid battles, there isn't much there other than the raid battles, aside from the large pool of Pokemon. But the thing is about that is that there's nothing other than that. So if you've captured almost every Pokemon and you're just trying to hunt down the last couple, the wild area can be frustrating and just a little bit sort of upsetting. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I want to say is, if you have a look at it in theory and then look at other semi-open world games in relation to that, then it could be executed so much more. There could be more in it. So to back up what I'm saying, I'm actually going to be buying the season pass despite everything negative that I've ever said. And the reason for that is because I hope with the new wild areas they execute these few little things. They add extra layers. Look at Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild has volcanoes, it has mountaintops that are snow-capped, it has low ravines, it has rivers, it has lakes, and it's engaging and exciting to run around. There's ruins, there's places to explore. There's even the dungeons, you know, that you can go through and find these things. And this is what I'm talking about. Imagine a wild area that has these things. Like there's caves that you can dive into, which may rotate and have strong monsters, strong Pokemon at the end, like every week or so. So it gives you an incentive to go back to the wild area and hunt for maybe rare and exclusive Pokemon. They could drip feed in every now and again new Pokemon as well. So you go, okay, this week you can capture this Pokemon. It's in one of the caves. It's a raid battle. You know, they could flesh it out like that. If they had large mountained areas, they could turn around and say, okay, well, there's ice and maybe water Pokemon up there, and down below there's more like grass and bug type Pokemon. You could have a volcanic area and go, okay, here you'll find more rock, ground, and fire Pokemon. In deep dark caves, you might find more ground and fighting Pokemon. I just feel that the wild area has so much untapped potential, and it could be something that really, really makes Sword and Shield stand through, and just be so much more. And that's the reason why it's on this list. It's not because I wish to hate on it. I never wish to hate on anything just for the sake of hating on it. I just think that it could be so much more. And for us as gamers, for us who really enjoy playing Pokemon, it would only benefit us. We would get so much more out of it. I hope that you can see that when I speak about Pokemon, it's not just to badmouth the game. It's not just to hate on it. I say it out of passion for the company like who creates this game that we've loved, especially for us older people in this community that have enjoyed it since the original. You know, we want to see this series stay around so that we can continue to enjoy it and the new generations of Pokemon players can continue to enjoy it. With that, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give it a comment down below, like it if you like it, dislike if you dislike it, subscribe to the channel for more, and with that, I will see you next time. By the way, small little sneak peek, on Friday's Red Talk, tomorrow's Red Talk, we are going to be discussing my ideal Pokemon game, and I hope that you'll come and check it out. With that, I will see you next time. I'm out.